Welcome to this edition of the Golden Rule. That's words that Jesus spoke to his followers, and it says basically, you should pretty much know it by now, those of you who've been watching this regularly, but it says basically, treat other people the way you want them to treat you. And so that's our theme. Our overall arching goal is to see Detroit Lakes become a beacon of righteousness. People doing the right things for the right reasons. And basically God defines what's right and what's wrong. So anyway, we're having different people from the community come in and just share some things about their walk with God, their experiences with God, or whatever. And I'm glad to have Tim Westbrook here with me today. Tim, thank you so much for coming. Tim and I have known each other for, do you remember what year it was?
2009.
2009 when we first met. I want you to share with the folks how we met.
Well, I bought a property, and I believe that you had looked at it, and then you had stopped by, and the guy that was helping me, I had a helper, and we were tiling, and so Barry was nice enough to come help me for a couple hours, and we tiled a basement floor together for a while. So that was my first time that I remember meeting you.
That was our introduction, and I didn't know him before that. He didn't know me, and I didn't have to tile a floor, but I thought to and let me say this about this. The Golden Rule isn't something that you do mechanically, thinking to yourself, oh, what nice thing can I do today for some needy person? It's not that. A true Christian is wired to be a servant. And when I see somebody doing something that I realize could be done quicker with a little help, and I've got a couple of hours, why not, right? And so I was basically doing the Golden Rule without thinking, I'm going to do the Golden Rule for Tim Westbrook and he's going to be really happy. No, it was just strictly, I just like to help people. And so we did that, and ever since then, we've had an ongoing relationship, and it's been wonderful. Now, I'm not, on this program, we're not into promoting a person's business or vocation or church or anything specific like that, and yet, because of the ministry that you're, the work that you're involved in, you have opportunity as a business owner to promote Jesus on the job. So why don't you just take a few minutes and share some of the things that have happened in conjunction with your customers, your clients, whatever.
Well, when we changed the name of the motel to Lakes Inn, and then when we were doing the sign and everything else, decided with some other help from brothers and sisters in Christ that we need to put the fish sign on the motel and on the sign, and we aren't a fishing hotel specifically. We are, and I remind our guests that no, we're not here for. It's not out there as a fishing hotel. It's because we are Christians.
So let's explain just a little bit that fishing emblem for those of you who might have seen it. It's just kind of a outline of a fish, just the body and the head and the tail. And back in the day, when Christians were being persecuted and they weren't allowed to talk about Jesus openly, they would indicate to one another as they just met by drawing in the sand or drawing in the ground this outline of a fish. And then the other person would know, oh, you're a Christian, and we can relate on that basis. So you ran a risk, so to speak, by making your Christian faith public. Now, were you concerned that it might drive business away?
No, I didn't even think that wasn't even a thought, and so many, since then, they've come out and it's opened up the conversation about being a Christian and about the gospel, that people, when they see the sign, it's like, oh, it's a Christian establishment. So I think it's definitely helped business. So.
And I would, it's hard to say because I'm sure there's some people don't have a clue what that fish means.
Correct.
But if they're unbelievers and they know what it means, they might just stay away.
Correct.
Which would be okay.
And actually, I remember having a review that someone said that, because they saw the fish sign, so they were concerned, but, they said no, you know what I mean? It wasn't like we were hitting them over the head as this establishment. It's, that was great to see too, that, that all are welcomed. And it's cute regarding that, the fish sign. It was actually one of the guests one summer told me about the history of the fish sign, and regarding half in the sand and the other half, and specifically in the sand they do that because they knew it could easily be erased. Yes.
So you have a motel. Do you have Bibles in your motel?
Yes, most of them do, and we also put the daily bread in most of the rooms too. It's just if I'm too busy with other activities, I need to keep current on those. We'll just say that. So
yeah. Do any of your you know that there are other motels in town that have completely removed the Bibles. They don't even have a Bible in the room, even though the Gideons provide them free. You can get free Bibles, and that's a sign of the times, folks. I don't know what you understand about signs of the times, but Jesus said before he returns, there's going to be a group of indicators that say it's getting close. And one of those things is that the hearts of men will grow cold towards the things of God. And I personally feel like we're living in that environment right now where people, they don't want to talk about God, or they're afraid to talk about God because of the kickback that they're going to get, the opposition. So anyway, can you think of any specific experiences you've had with your clients or customers that would reflect on any of this?
I just remember one that, it was last minute they made the reservation, and they weren't going to make it all the way to their destination, and once they arrived, it was so neat because I believe she gave me a hug. It's like, oh, it's a Christian establishment, and I just thought that was pretty cool. But also I wanted to add to what you had said regarding the Bibles. Typically, if I get to help clean the rooms, and I'll leave it on the Christian station for the radio on the TV. And a lot of times I'll just leave that on specifically so that when they turn on the TV, they got the Christian radio station on the TV. So.
Super. All kinds of ways we can accomplish the task, right? Well, Jesus said to go into the whole world and preach the gospel and to tell people about him. And so there's all kinds of ways we can do that, and we're trying to introduce you on this program to the many different ways, hoping that you'll pick up on the message. Whatever you do, whatever your job is. I remember one situation where people in a church were being encouraged to accept the fact that they're a employee second, but a Christian first, and everything they do during the day should somehow or other reflect that Christianity. And so one teacher said, I can do this. So she'd go to school, and 15 minutes before her third graders came in, she'd sit at each desk and pray, and just bless the families and kids and all this kind of stuff, So she was doing this for several weeks, and then one day the principal came in unannounced, sat in the back of the room for about 20 minutes, and then she got up and left. And the teacher was wondering, this doesn't happen. Principals don't just walk into your room if they're going to do an evaluation. They normally tell you ahead of time. So she went to the office afterwards, and she said, I noticed you came into my classroom. Is there something wrong? And she said, yeah, something wrong. And she says, oh, well, what was it? And she says, well, and the principal said, I was having an especially hard day, and I was looking for the most peaceful place on this school campus, and your classroom is it. Now, this woman never said boo about the fact that she was praying over her classroom, praying over her students, but the power of God came through in such intensity that the school principal was actually drawn into that classroom just to find some peace. so we can bring peace into the environment. I want to switch gears for a minute, but before I do, as Christians, Jesus said, if you want to be great in my kingdom, learn to be a servant of all. Jesus said, I didn't come to be served, but to serve. And we as Christians serve people. We do out of the way things that people don't expect and sometimes can't even explain. Why would you do that? Why would you do that for me? And then that opens the door for conversations too, you know. So, but I want to cover another topic before we run out of time here, and that's the Bible reading marathon. I'm doing everything I can this year to let as many people know as possible, because the last thing I want to hear when I meet somebody on August 8th or 9th or 10th and I tell them about the wonderful time we had at the Bible reading marathon, I don't want them to say, oh man, I would have been there if I'd have known about it. So we're knowing them about it, right? We're telling them, you've been involved.
Yep.
You've been involved several times, have you not? Can you describe the experience at all? Can you remember anything particularly about it?
I guess I just remember, having to specifically put it on my schedule to actually do that, because obviously the summers are our busiest time. Thus, even during our busiest time, you can take that time to schedule it, and everything will work out.
I'm glad you said that, because that's the point I wanted to make to our audience too. If this resonates at all with you, I want you to call me at 218-847-5575 and let me know that you want to participate. Initially, I need 80 people who will say, I will read for 1 hour, or I will arrange for 1 hour's worth of time during which that Bible portion will be read. And then I'll assign you a portion of Scripture. And then you don't have to read for an hour for yourself, by yourself. You can recruit 2 or 3 or 4, 5 other people and go to the park, sit down, bring a couple of chairs or a blanket and just chill and have a good time. But what's going to happen this year is there's going to be a group over here reading and a group over here reading and a group over here reading. And people who aren't involved are going to walk through the park and say, what's everybody doing reading? What are they reading? Well, they're reading the Bible. Oh, really? And so we want to impact our community with an awareness of God, an awareness of the presence of God. And so if you'd like to do the 1 hour thing, let me know and we'll schedule you in. But once those 80 hours are filled, then we're going to have other people come who can come for as long as they want. If you want to come for 10 minutes and read, you want to come for 2 hours, come for 2 hours, and you can read wherever in the Bible you want to read. Some people are reluctant because they say, well, I don't want to read all those names that I can't pronounce. That's the least of our concerns. That's not a problem at all. So if you want to be participating, you just show up in the park and then you just read wherever you want to read, and you will be blessed. What we used to do when we had 15-minute sessions, people would sit down and they'd read, and they were actually reading into a microphone at that time. And then when their 15 minutes are up, I just go behind, tap them on the shoulder and say, you're done. Done. Man, I was just getting into it, This is really interesting. And so many people who have participated had never even read the Bible, the whole thing through themselves, or certain parts of it. So anyway, that's it for today. The golden rule, remember, treat other people the way you want to be treated, and specifically your assignment for this week is invite other people to read the Bible in the park from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. Thank you for tuning in. Some of you didn't tune in intentionally. You just kind of clicked and here we were. That's because God wanted to get your attention. I hope it worked. God bless you.